Hello and welcome to Oh No, Not Another Old Fart sitting in front of a pile of records talking about music. But what we're going to do differently is we're going to look at the records that no one else talks about. The weird, the wonderful, the horrible, the novelty, the comedy, all that kind of thing that is neglected in other similar YouTube programs. My name's Paul Weatherhead, though some call me Professor Weird. In this episode, we're going to look at a few singles that I've picked up from my charity shop and flea market hauls. A random selection. Let's start with this, which I picked up a couple of days ago. This is Roger Whittaker, a genre you might call beigecore, but he did some quirky stuff. This song, Google Eyes, was written by John D. Loudermilk. It's a children's song, really. From the cover, you might think it was about a monster, but it actually seems to be about a big fish. On the B-side, you've got Nasty Spider. Here's the spider. And it's about the adventures of a boy with a caterpillar and a spider and a swallow and a mole and all that kind of thing, in which Roger does a bit of whistling. And Roger Whittaker is a brilliant whistler. He's done an album of whistlers. I'm going to have to do a review of that sometime. But anyway, this was a nice, very cheap little find. You can even colour in Google Eyes on the back here, although from that it seems you're only going to need your green crayon, but I'll colour that in later. So next up, I've been a big fan of Death Discs, so I was really happy to find a copy of this, which is Del Shannon and Ginny in the Mirror. This is a great song. It's actually the B-side of, was it, the Swiss Made from 1962, I think, and this tells the story of how, Del Shannon's songs are often about him being hunted and haunted and on the run. Runaway is the most famous hit of his, but in this one he says, when I'm all alone in my lonely room and each creaking board's like the sound of doom, in my pain I look in the looking glass, and in the mirror he sees presumably his dead love Ginny coming to haunt him and laugh maniacally at him. So great little song. So nice to find that one. Classic, much not well known Death Disc, but that's a really good one to find. So here's a surprise. I'd never heard of this guy before. This is Ben Folder, coming in what's this? Looks like a Staffordshire generics sleeve. So Ben Folder, he's a country artist. The song's called Hello Wall Number 2. Now I've looked this up, and Hello Walls is a famous country song that I'd never heard of, but Hello Wall is hilarious. The original song seems to be about a guy saying hello walls and talking about how aren't you lonely today because our love has gone away, that kind of thing. The rewritten lyrics tell something along the lines of hello wall, who put you there, and it's done in a slurred drunk voice. I thought this was hilarious, really funny twist at the end, which I won't spoil. Now, the other side, Shutters and Screams, has got everything you want from a novelty disc. It's got it's something to do with a haunted house, so you've got all kinds of mad scientist bubblings and ghostly noises and screams and sound effects. So this is a really nice find. Never heard of Ben Folder before, but I'll look at more of his stuff. He seems to be like a comedy country type singer. Great stuff. Now, another interesting find for Beatle fans, came without a cover, was this, which is Yellow Submarine, but done by the amazing music of the electronic ARP synthesizer. So Yellow Submarine, of course, one of the Beatles' most famous but also perhaps least popular songs. Here it cannot but make you smile, hearing all these synthesizer underwater burblings and gurglings and all kinds of things. There's squidgy boing boings all the way through it. There's circus music a bit like Mr. Kite, and there's Space Invader pew pews, stereo effects bouncing all over the place, and a strange electronic freak out ending. So this is really good fun. What year was this released in? 1974. The B-side, Cynthia Size, get it? Well, that's not much to talk about there. All right, let's move on to a bit of comedy. What about this from, let me see, 1959? This is Bernard Bresslaw. You might be familiar with Bernard Bresslaw as the Gormless Oaf in loads of Carry On films, but he recorded quite a few songs, and he certainly had a hit with his version of You Need Hands, which he did as You Need Feet. Now, it would be quite hard to listen to an album of Bernard Bresslaw because he sings in a very kind of tuneless monotone, but it suits this song. It's called The Teenager's Lament, and it tells it's a rock and roll doo-wop pastiche, and it's got such brilliant lyrics as, let me see, why do they say we're not old enough? Is it because we're too young? And also more wise words from Bernard Bresslaw. If you can't fall in love, what can you fall in? So this was a nice little find. I love these old comedy records from classic comedians. All right, let's go a bit psychedelic. This one is the Everly Brothers, a song from 1967. It's called, I don't know if you can see that there, Mary Jane. Mary Jane, what could they be referring to? Yes, the Everly Brothers, those straight-laced, white-bread country rock and roll singers had a psychedelic period. Yes, they did a drug song called Mary Jane. This was actually written by their bass player Terry Slater, and it's got a psychedelic atmosphere. It's got fuzz guitar, it's got bongos, it's got Sergeant Pepper style trumpets, it's got weird time signature changes and everything. And so this is really good. It's got Flower Power B-side as well, Talking to the Flowers. Again, another dreamy, semi-psychedelic song. So the Everly Brothers, I quite like it when bands who are very straight sort of try and get into psychedelia. This happened to a lot of bands round about 67 and 68 and so on. And the Everly Brothers did it quite well on a couple of albums, and maybe I'll talk about those on later programs. But in the meantime, Mary Jane, the Everly Brothers go psychedelic, well worth looking up if you can find it. Okay, just a couple more. It was really nice to find an original copy of this one by the Bonzo Dog Band, or is it the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band still at this point? This is I'm the Urban Spaceman, which is their biggest hit. It says here produced by Apollo C. Vermouth, which we know was actually Paul McCartney. So the biggest hit, with a great Vivian Stanshall's Garden Hose solo at the end. So one of Neil Innes's most famous songs. The B-side, Canyons of Your Mind. This is one of Vivian Stanshall's best Elvis Presley pastiches, with, of course, Les Dawson on guitar, or so it sounds like. Anyway, the Bonzos always have a special place in the wardrobe of my soul. You know which section I'm talking about. And I'm sure to do a ranking of the Bonzos albums. But anyway, it's really nice to find this original single. Okay, let's finish with this. This is not only a picture disc, it's a shaped picture disc. I'm not sure which way up that is. There we have it. It's a record that's in the shape of a fish and with a picture of a fish head in it. And that's probably going to give it away because the album is it's a greatest hits EP by Barnes and Barnes, who probably best known for their song Fish Heads, Roly-Poly Fish Heads, a hit thanks to Dr. Demento, but an MTV as well back in the early 80s, I guess it was 1982. So this, the fish head, which is a list of things that fish can't do, including things like fish heads can't drink cappuccino in an Italian restaurant with Oriental women and all that kind of thing. The rest of the songs are pretty rude. I had sex on TV, swallow my love, work the meat, and party in my pants. So you can see what kind of, you can see where they were at. Anyway, there we have it, a nice picture disc of a fish head to finish with. So anyway, join me again soon when we'll have a look at some more weird, wonderful, strange, wacky, terrible, horrific, and wonderful records.